Concerns about student safety is once again being talked about around Texas Tech this week after another report of a crime on campus late last week. Coming up, MCTV's Patricia Perry joins us in studio with the latest details and a look at the state of crime here at Texas Tech.
A couple of week-long celebrations officially wrapped up this weekend, but not before students had plenty of chances to have some fun and learn about the university's diversity. We'll have a look back at last week's Pride and International Week festivities.
And the Texas Tech football team headed north over the weekend in hopes of racking up one of two necessary wins needed to go bowling this year. But could the Red Raiders pull off what many hoped was a guaranteed victory? We'll have a look at the highlights and the scores from Saturday's game in sports.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of MCTV's Weekday Update. I'm Erin Pellet.
And I'm Parker Gainey.
Since the beginning of the fall semester, the campus community has received several reports of crime here on campus.
And late last week, students, faculty, and staff received yet another email notification of an incident involving a student. MCTV's Patricia Perry has been following this story and joins us now with details on the most recent report. Patricia?
Thanks, Parker and Erin. On Friday, a female reported an aggravated sexual assault to the Office for Student Civil Rights and Sexual Misconduct and the Texas Tech Police Department. This incident happened at a Texas Tech residence hall. The assault occurred at approximately 2 a.m. on Friday morning. The male suspect was known to the female. He is a Texas Tech student and has been identified, but the incident is still under investigation. To report an incident of sexual violence, visit title9.ttu.edu. With several recent crime reports on campus, some members of the TTU community are worried about what other crime is occurring at the university. Texas Tech recently released their annual Clery report. This is a report of the crime statistics from the last year to be transparent with the public. Texas Tech University System Clery Compliance Director Chad Bates shares why Clery was started.
Clery is a federal law for one. It was started after a student in Pennsylvania was murdered on campus. And it's all about transparency. Her parents learned that there were 38 violent crimes against persons that happened either on campus or real close to campus, and so that really made them think, had they known this information, would they have done something differently for their daughter to go to school? So that turned into the crime statistics reporting in 3 years worth and the locations specifically. So really, it's about transparency, and it's about providing you, as somebody on our campus community, with the information so that you can make the decisions to stay safe.
Like almost everything else last year, COVID-19 had an effect on the crime statistics on campus. With university being shut down for so long and the campus population much smaller in the fall, there were some predictions that the crime rates would go down drastically. Yet that didn't seem to be the case.
Obviously, COVID was an unknown for a lot of areas. All the years I've done this, I was really kind of expecting numbers to be really low, just because campuses were closed or things were restricted on campus. But that's not what we saw. We saw numbers either staying pretty similar. Some areas it went up or it went down a little bit, but nothing drastic like I was kind of maybe thinking we would see.
TTU PD saw an increase in alcohol referrals rising to 605, burglaries up at 16, motor vehicle theft increasing to 7, and 1 report of arson. The department also saw decreases in drug referrals down to 45, arrests involving liquor dropping to 56, arrests involving drugs decreasing to 189, 5 arrests involving weapons, and 14 total sex offenses. If you are interested in viewing the 2020 Clery report, you can visit the Texas Tech Police Department's website and click on Clery Compliance website. Back to you, Parker.
Thanks, Patricia. In some much lighter news, Texas Tech recently wrapped up 2-week-long celebrations that helped students learn more about the diversity of the campus community. All last week, the Office of the LGBTQIA Education and Engagement hosted Pride Week events both on and off campus. On Friday, one of the week's biggest events took place just up Marcia Sharp Freeway at Club Luxor. The annual Miss Glamour and Fame drag pageant featured both local and national talent. The event brought in a large audience, with proceeds going to the LGBTQIA and Allies organization and Tech's Gender and Sexuality Association. Competitors showcased their talent and an evening gown in front of a panel of judges. At the end of the night, Lady Macy Nevea walked away with this year's top prize and the chance to help others feel comfortable in their identity.
Growing up as a young gay kid in West Texas, it was pretty difficult, and if I would have had people that I could look up to see that it's okay to be gay, to be just like everybody else, it would have been a lot easier for me growing up. So my goal as an entertainer, as a gay man, is to inspire the generations to come.
This year's Pride Week events finished up with Friday's pageant, but Miss Glamour and Fame was only one of a full week of events that brought awareness to Tech's LGBT+ community.
Along with Pride Week, the Office of International Affairs also wrapped up a full schedule of events as the 2021 edition of International Week came to an end over the weekend. Earlier in the week, OIA hosted a Polynesian International Dancing exhibit at the International Cultural Center. Members of the Texas Tech and local communities had the opportunity to stop by and learn Polynesian dancing techniques from members of Angeli's School of Dance. Thursday's event, along with the rest of International Week schedule, gave attendees the chance to learn about the many diverse cultures that make up the campus community.
I think it's important to understand it. It's not so that you can see, well, mine's better or mine's different. It's so that you actually understand your own culture a whole lot better than you understand someone else's. Especially in the last year and a half, we've seen the world get so much smaller. We can all travel, we can go places. We come to our campus and we've got all kinds of diverse groups on campus. The more you know, the more you understand them, the more you know and understand yourself as well.
Polynesian International Dancing was one of almost a dozen events hosted by OIA last week. Even though some of last week's events were aimed specifically at students, faculty, or staff, Thursday's event was free and open to the public.
International Week included 7 days of activities highlighting Tech's international community, and last Tuesday, the week's festivities kicked into high gear with the annual Office of International Affairs open house. Starting at 11:30 a.m., Texas Tech faculty and staff could stop by the International Cultural Center to taste international cuisines from several restaurants including P.F. Chang's, La Madeleine, Capital Pizza, and more. Joan Goodman Williamson, the Executive Director of International Relations, said the event allows employees from each college the chance to mingle with other employees while celebrating the campus's cultural diversity.
The idea is to share with them that sort of international experience and to give them a chance to ask us questions and to learn more about what we do.
International Week 2021 officially wrapped up on Saturday with Culture Fest at the International Cultural Center. But if you missed out on this year's celebration, OIA hosts similar events throughout the year. For more information about the Office of International Affairs, visit international.ttu.edu. It finally felt a lot like fall over the weekend here in the Hub City. A cold front moved through on Friday, bringing in a significant drop in temperatures from earlier in the week.
That's true, Parker. And some parts of the South Plains experienced the first freeze of the fall, including right here on the Tech campus. Saturday morning, Tech's Messinette site hit 32 degrees for the first time since last spring. But will freezing temperatures become the norm as we head into the third week of October? Let's take a look at the MCTV forecast. The MCTV Tower Cam is continuing to show quite a few clouds in the sky this afternoon. Temperatures started out pretty cool again this morning, but now near the freezing point. Temperatures this afternoon should also be a bit warmer than this weekend, with highs expected to reach the mid-70s before sunset. Tomorrow, we'll see a return of the sunshine and warmer temperatures with highs reaching near 90 degrees. But gusty winds could also be an issue tomorrow, bringing in another slight cool down as we head into Tuesday night. From there, highs should stay in the 70s on Wednesday and Thursday, along with the return of clouds on Thursday morning. But lows should stay above freezing, with temperatures only dropping into the upper 40s and low 50s through the end of the week. Looking ahead, a continuation of mild conditions should make for a nice fall weekend, with a return of 80-degree highs expected by the end of the week.
The Texas Tech football team is back on track towards their goal of making a postseason bowl appearance after an essential win on the road. The Red Raiders met up with the Kansas Jayhawks on Saturday afternoon in Lawrence. Tech came into the game as a favorite to win, but the Red Raiders exceeded expectations as they blew out the Jayhawks 41-14. Starting quarterback Henry Columby completed 14 of 20 attempts for 124 yards, along with 34 yards rushing. And backup quarterback Donovan Smith got some extended reps in the fourth quarter, throwing for 70 yards on 4 completions and also rushing for 37 yards. So Roderick Thompson led Tech's rushing attack with 83 total yards, and Eric Azukanma racked up 76 yards off of 5 receptions, but neither had a touchdown in Saturday's game. Next up, the Red Raiders are eyeing their first chance at a bowl berth as they welcome Kansas State to town for family weekend. Saturday's showdown is set for 11 a.m. at Jones AT&T Stadium with TV coverage on Fox Sports 1.
Texas Tech Volleyball and Soccer both had split decisions over the last 4 days as they faced Big 12 competition on the road. Tech Volleyball headed to Norman, Oklahoma for a 2-game showdown with the OU Sooners on Thursday and Friday. The Red Raiders faced a tough loss Thursday, losing 2-3 in a back-and-forth affair. But on Friday, the team made up for the previous day, ending by sweeping all 3 sets by nearly 10 points each. Junior Kenneth Sauer led the team with 17 kills and 11 digs, followed by junior Caitlin Dugan and senior Brooke Canis, who each had 8 kills. Next up, the Red Raiders have the week off and will take on Kansas State next Wednesday and Thursday in Manhattan. And Tech Soccer also went through highs and lows last week, starting with the 2-1 win against Iowa State in Ames. Sophomore Gazelle Kazarski sealed the victory with a goal in the 86th minute against the Cyclones, after both teams went scoreless through the first half. The Red Raiders hope to maintain momentum and take down a ranked opponent as they headed south to face off against West Virginia. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The Mountaineers shut down Tech last week, holding the Red Raiders scoreless as they knocked in 2 goals to maintain their national ranking. Tech sits at 3-1 in conference play and hopes to get back in the win column as they welcome the Kansas Jayhawks to town for Senior Day. Tech versus Kansas is scheduled for 7 p.m. this Friday. If you can't make it out in person, you can also catch all the action on Big 12 now on ESPN+.
As we mentioned earlier, the Tech campus stayed busy last week with both the Pride and International Week celebrations taking place at the same time. But on top of all that, another campus group also offered students the option to create a very special keepsake. Last Thursday, the Student Activities Board welcomed students to the sub-courtyard for the Fall Stuff a Critter event. Students lined up to pick their favorite plush animal, stuff them, and then dress them up with a special shirt before sewing up their critters. Attendees could also write something special on a paper heart that could be stuffed inside their furry friends. Stuff a Critter is one of SAB's most popular events of the year, but the group still has plenty of activities and events on their schedule before the end of the fall semester.
We're always having something throughout the week. Like yesterday we went to the corn maze. Today we have a Stuff a Critter. Next week is Alcohol Awareness Week. And we're doing drunk goggles or drunk driving simulation. So students should come out and support and get to learn about drunk driving, being under the influence, the consequences.
National Collegiate Alcohol Awareness Week is already underway here on campus with a full week of options for students to learn how to make safe choices while having some fun. On Wednesday, SAB will host drunk goggle lawn games in the Sub-Red Raider Plaza. Students will attempt to show off their outdoor gaming skills while wearing a pair of goggles that simulate impaired vision due to intoxication. Wednesday's event is set to take place from noon to 2 p.m. and it's free for everyone with a student ID. You can also check out the rest of this week's schedule by visiting sab.ttu.edu.
So Parker, are you planning to stop by any of this week's alcohol awareness events?
I think the drunk lawn games would be pretty fun while also teaching us the dangers of being intoxicated.
I totally agree. That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check out ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you on Thursday.